got an interesting conundrum going on at the moment, as you know, over the last 5 or 10 years there's been lots of sports washing going on, but it looks like a change is incoming, that actually maybe even prompted by some recent purchases of smaller clubs.
Yeah.
But actually Americans are realising that buying football clubs isn't just a good way of improving your image, but it's also very profitable.
Well, since some clubs have been taken over by the Americans, I feel like it's made them kind of forward in a way. So if you think about Man United and Chelsea, they're not quite what they used to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I feel like it's just bringing them all down a bit. And I think if we would get all of these Premier League teams with these Americans coming in to take them over, it's just going to kind of bring the level down that we're used to, and it's not going to be as inclusive and enjoyable as it used to be.
So in my opinion, I mean, I can see why people would be against it. However, if you want to be a top league, you've got to bring in the big money, and if you want the big money, you've got to go for the investors. You know, that's got the money behind them. So
Absolutely,
I can't see it being a problem for British, English football and for the Prem. I think you need to bring in the big investors to be a top league.
The Saudi Arabian ownership is something to keep a pretty close eye on from a regulatory point of view, and that at some point that the boards will need to actually step in and put in place some sanctions, because if you look at golf and Formula One, there's good examples of what happens when you allow the leagues to be bought out entirely by Saudi. They will just move them, and we will lose essentially the teams and all the restrictions that are currently making these leagues fantastic for millions of viewers worldwide.
I mean, I feel like they're just pumping money into it, really. And it's so Newcastle, for example, they've got all of this revenue that they can't spend, whereas obviously they're now the richest club in the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
But they can't spend the revenue, and they just keep getting this money being pumped in, and I don't know, they can't spend it. It kind of ruins a lot of the clubs and personality, kind of.
Exactly. So I think whole state's a little bit of a different story, although at the same time it's keeping, you're maintaining being a top league by bringing in all that Saudi money.
Yeah.
You're also bringing in the big players and bringing in people wanting to watch it on telly and an international audience. However, I think football should stay away from getting too political, and when you start bringing states into it, there's a worry that it turns a bit political rather than just football and potentially money focus.